Hi, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations. Today we are going to look at a couple of different ways to do the flying geese. So I have my wing clipper ruler here, which I received as a gift. This is what it looks like. Now it doesn't have this washi tape. I did that to keep it from sliding. But just to give you an idea, the little points up there at the top. Excuse me, I got it upside down. That's how you mark it. You get a piece of paper with it, which is really, really helpful. And let me take it out of my sheet here. And it tells you on this side of the page, right there, and that tells you the finished size of the geese and what to cut your squares. And the way that this one is being made, I don't know if you've seen this, you might have seen it already, it's being made like this. So you're taking two 4-inch squares and putting them opposite each other when you do it. And in this case, I'm going to make the finished size of my goose. I want it to be a 3 by 6. Therefore, I have to use a 7.5-inch square. That's what the background is, which is the white, the light. And then the squares are 4 inches. You're going to sew on the right side and the left side of the diagonal. So I normally put a dashed line down the diagonal, and then I will put a line on the right and the left of it, and then when you're done you cut it. That's how you do this one. Now it has different sizes. For example, the finished size, which is over here on this one, the smallest one here is a 1 by 1/2 inch for a flying geese if you want a really bitty, a little teeny one. And then it tells you what sizes to make for the square. So when you get finished, you'll have 4 of them every single time, and then the little squares for the wings. And I guess you guys know how to do this, the sewing part of it. Let me show you just in case you background helicopter doesn't make too much noise. I guess they're looking for somebody out there. Now I will go ahead and I will stitch, although I've marked my fabric, I'm going to stitch to the left of the line. You can go straight across the line, but I'll always like to stay a little bit to the left. And you just go from one end of your fabric straight down to the other. This is one of the fastest ways to make 4 flying geese together. When I'm done with one, I just turn it around and go the other direction. Alrighty, so I have it sewn, and all I do is go straight down the middle, and I'm cutting it in half, so I end up with 2 like that. And now what I do is I will go over here to the ironing board, and I will iron these up, and then come back like this. Now you're going to want to take the other 2 that you also have marked on the back, just like that. And we're going to put them right sides together. And I'll put 1 pin just to hold it down. And then we're going to sew that one and this one before we cut them aside. Go ahead and I'm going to chain stitch this. Turn it around. If your sewing machine has an issue going over the bump here, then just turn it around and go from the bottom. That'll work also. I will cut each of these. We're going to go ahead and we're going to iron these open. That'll give us 4 flying geese, just like that. I moved my washi tape down here. It's just keeping it from sliding is the reason it was on there. And now what it's saying in the directions, if you have this tool, it wants you to take the size that you're going to be using. You're going to line it up. I'm right-handed, so I have to line this direction. on my fabric. So the geese wings are coming downward. And it wants me, and like remember now, I said that this was going to be, what did I say it was going to be? A 3x6. So what you're going to do is you're going to trim it down. So I go up here. And I've got it marked on the 3.5 by 6.5 because that's what we cut it in order to sew it. And let me put you a little closer so you can see this. So see where this crisscrosses right here? That's where the line has to be. Let me back it up a little bit. So that's my 3.5. Turn my overhead light off for a minute. So there's the 3.5 inch. That didn't help any. That just made it worse. Right down here. Oops. And I line up the lines. And I'm lining this up right here. And then I'm going to trim the right side and the top. I'll flip it and do the same thing again. And then these little X's that go all the way across the top, you're going to match that up. And then take it right across the top here. And that's it. And there is one of your flying geese. Now, wasn't that pretty neat? That was fantastic. So this is called the wing clipper. I am so glad that I was gifted that. That is a big help. And it won't take any time at all to put out all these flying geese. Now, let me show you the ruler that we received in our Creative Notions box. Along to the Creative Notions monthly subscription, you got one of these in your September box. And this is the small Flying Geese ruler by Quilt in a Day. And it ends up being a 3x6 and a 1.5 by 3. Here's the 3x6, which is what we're making. And there's the little one, which I've seen that on the borders of some quilts. So let's go ahead and use this with one of our flying geese that we just made. And of course, here's the directions on the back. And you just literally put it down on there and it shows you where to cut. And you do the side and the bottom and then the other side and then across the top. You don't have to pick up your ruler or your goose. And there you go. All finished. Same exact size. They're the same size. And there you go. You can really put out a lot of flying geese. And that'll have that perfect 1/4 inch, which I love. And now the last way to show you, which you can do this. Now let's say that you don't have any of these rulers. Okay, you can use your regular ruler to do that. Let me get a ruler over here for y'all. Alrighty. This is a 6.5 inch ruler. That's what size we're cutting these geese. So that's the size of ruler I have, a square 6.5 inch. And you know that on these creative grids, the 1/4 inch is grayed out up here, and we need a 1/4 inch seam up here. So you're going to put your ruler so that it gives you a 1/4 inch seam. Just like that. And actually, you know what? let's make it a little easier on ourselves. So we're going to fold this in half. And think of it in terms as half of 6 1/2. Which is 3 1/4. So I've put I'm going to make sure that my my 1/4 inch line is right above the tip, which I'm going to be trimming. And I'm going to line it up here at the bottom the best that I can. And if you're not really good with math, you're probably not going to want to do it this direction or this way. Now, if I was making a lot of flying geese, I would really invest in a ruler. I wouldn't do it this way, just for the convenience of the ruler. But you can cut them down to any size you want. And then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to come across the bottom. And in this case, you can line up your 45-degree angle. And I don't know if you can even see that little point right there. Let me show you here. I'm going to get you a little bit closer so you can actually see it. And I was talking about that little bitty spot right there. And this is a 1/4 inch on that white line going across there, which needs to be pulled down a little bit more. And then you would cut it all the way across the bottom right there and turn it like this. Oops, as I moved off of it, like that. Just like this. And then you take it off. And there you have it. And it can join these other two. And now you got 3 of them like that. Now this is one of the easiest ways to create flying geese. And there's what I've cut out to do my project today. And all I've got to do is put them together and sew them. I'll show you what I'm going to do here. These are the easiest flying geese because they have been pre-cut out with the AccuQuilt Go. This is just like the cotton cuts. The only difference is they didn't send it to me. I actually made these myself. Doesn't make any difference, but I'm just using my 1/4 inch, just like before on all my other projects. I'm also using a 12-inch needle, a 2 1/2 inch stitch, and all I'm doing is stitching it. And because they're like this, you can chain stitch them. It doesn't take any time at all. That's it. All you got to do is sew them all up and you've got a lot of flying geese. Now here's the other way to make it. So I've got 2 3 1/2 inch squares and 1 6 1/2 by 3 1/2 inch rectangle. Okay, and you're going to put your right sides together. And you're going to mark it because you're going to sew from this corner to this corner. If you don't mark it, that's your preference. And then what I'll do is I will go ahead and mark it again, because this will be a big enough piece that I can get a small little half square triangle out of it. Like that. The dashes are my cutting line. The solid line is my sewing line. Now before I cut it or anything, I will go ahead and sew the other piece. Now you have this half of the flying geese, and you'll have this little piece, which is a little half square triangle for some other project. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to lay this across here, and we're going to sew that from the top. And actually we're going to turn it this direction. Make sure your lines are in the right place. either from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top. It makes no difference. Now this way of making a flying goose or flying geese is fine if you have smaller fabric or you're using scraps up. If you have the larger amount, I would go for the bigger way to make it when you create 4 of them at a time, because it's a lot faster and a lot more get made. We're going to turn it around here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to sew this other side here. Make our half square triangle for another project. And when you're finished, you'll have it like that. And here are the other 3. And I still got to trim the one. Here's the last one that I need to trim. This is the one I made from scratch. I went ahead and I cut out 2 green also that I had to make, so I can make them the same way as I made this. Because I'm trying to keep within the Christmas theme, the green and the red. And there we go. All finished. I hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Click on that little bell so you'll get my notifications of other YouTubes that are going up, videos. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching, everybody, and welcome everybody that's new. Take care. Bye-bye.